Hello YouTubers, it's JSkyer981 here, and welcome to the second video in my X-Cross to tips and tricks tutorials. Today we're going to be going over another concept. I call it the hammer. It's kind of a stupid name, but I'm just giving things names for the fun of it. But it's basically just another technique for solving X-crosses, and this is going to be one that you'll use very often. But just to remind everyone, an X-cross is this right here. This is our goal. We want to have a fully solved cross and an F2L piece formed in its correct spot right there. So the trick we'll be going over today is this right here. Now, if you look at this whole situation, just take a moment to look at the cross. It's not too hard to solve, especially if any of you have a good advanced look here. And most of you will see, oh, there's a nice little benefit there that's going to happen. If you don't, then that's why you're here, because you're going to learn a little trick. Now, again, so just for those of you who don't know, these are correct relative to one another. And so all I'd have to do is do a U there, or in this case a D. Then if you look here, actually, this piece and this piece together, this little block, could form our 2x2 block here with the rest of it. But the problem is we have to get this chunk, or have to get this piece right here next to this chunk right here. So in other words, if that green and white piece were just right here, we'd have a 2x2 pair like that, and then we could just toss it in and it would be done. So if you didn't see that, that's okay. I'm going to go back. Now, the rest of the cross, I just did that for the sake of practicing the rest of the cross. For right now, you don't even really need to think about that. All you really need to be focusing on is this little block here. So I'm going to take those out of the way, and we're going to do this. Okay? So all we are looking at is, ignoring the rest of the pieces, this green little piece here, this L, or if you will, and that piece right here. These pieces together form what we call the 2x2 block. Now this 2x2 block, in order for it to be formed, requires you have one correct edge piece in one correct cross piece, and then an F2L pair and another correct cross piece. So this correct cross piece is solved, that correct cross piece is solved, all we need is our F2L pair, and look, it's already together. So in order to form these up, all we've got to do is just move that out of the way, the pair, back here. Then I can move this back over, and then back down. Like that. By the way, I do give some credit to Lars Petrus' page. He did give me a lot of tips on some of these things and how to do them. So I'm not going to claim this is all me. But yeah, this is very simple. And I just call it the hammer because it's just a RUR prime. Now, this is a horrible cube, but that can be done incredibly fast. Just RUR prime, normally not going to be so bad. U2. And then I'm there. And so that's a simple little trick wherein you take the edge and you put it next to the form pair, utilizing the pairs that you have. This is something that I will go over all the time with you guys. If you have a form pair, especially if it's lined up, find that edge that belongs next to it. It's super easy. It only takes a few moves normally and you've got an X-cross. So this one right here is just a simple RUR prime. Now it could also be in other places. It could be down here. You could have the form pair here, and many of you be like, oh well, maybe I'll just, see what happens. It probably won't get broken up. Yes, that's true, but if you could just easily do an R, U2, R prime, like that, from here, R, U2, R prime, form that pair, and then bring it down. Now you have your 2x2 block. So it's a very simple trick. It can be there. It can also be, equally as simply, over here. So if you look here, here's my form block. Here is... And if you look here, the white piece that belongs there is back over here. So all I have to do in order to bring it from here to here is R prime, U2, R. And if it were right here, I would just do an R prime, U prime, R. And now I have my form pair and down. It's a very useful little trick, and you're going to find that you use that all the time. So I mean, I just can't even begin to explain how much you'll use it. So if you imagine you had something like this, okay? This you might see it would be very easy to just toss into the pair, right? Into that. you might not notice it. You might just think, oh, there's a pair, and you might just be looking at this cross piece and thinking that, and not notice that that piece can go there. Simple R2 down there. Just a little stop, a pit stop along the way. You can also have situations where it's going to be like this right here, where you have a pair there and here, and you want to form those two together. You just R prime U, R2, U2, right into the done. So that's something that you guys will find all the time, will come up. Sometimes the pair will be in weird places. It'll be like this. You see here? The pair, that piece, if my pair is formed up here, I've got this little 3 block here. That piece is over here. You can do this a couple of different ways. You could do that and push or something, which you could do with the normal cube. Like that. Or, sorry, this is an old A1. Or you could do bringing the piece, so it's back there, bringing the piece on top. You can then do that, sorry. There. So if it's up there, you can just do a simple U prime, R prime U2. R. There we go. And that forms the pair. Then all you've got to do in order to form this back up is to form up your red, bring it down, and you're done. So there's just a couple little examples. That's something you guys should be looking for. Anytime you see a formed pair of white especially, or yellow, always be utilizing that. You can always form an X cross with that. If you're not utilizing it, then you're not doing something right. We'll talk more about pair preservation later in terms of how to not break them up if you see one when you have a cross finish. But for now, if you ever see one and it's not too arduous, always try and toss it back in using that method. Okay, thank you. Please rate, comment, subscribe.